guys, and welcome back to another episode of Off the Shelf. I'm your host, Runtime HD, and this week, what we found off the shelf was...
Can't somebody be a jerk their whole life and try to repair the damage?
You probably don't even know my middle name.
That's a trick question. You don't have one.
Helen.
The Royal Tenenbaums, released in 2001. It is a comedy drama directed and written by Wes Anderson, but also, this movie was also written by Owen Wilson, who also stars in the film. But the main star of the film is Gene Hackman. While we watch this movie in tribute to him, rest in peace, Gene Hackman, an absolute legend of film, great actor. You will be missed. Royal Tenenbaums. He is also, of course, the titular character. He is Royal Tenenbaum in the Royal Tenenbaums. But also, this film is starring... Okay, I'm going to see if I can get this in one go. Okay, so the narrator is Alec Baldwin, who I didn't know actually until after watching the movie. I didn't recognize it. Bill Murray, who's actually in quite a few Wes Anderson movies. Owen Wilson, as I mentioned earlier. He's in the movie as well, even though he also helped write it. Apparently him and Wes Anderson went to college together, I believe. They went to school together. Angelica Houston played like the wife / ex-wife of Gene Hackman's character, Royal Tenenbaum. Oh man, it was then Ben Stiller played one of Gene Hackman's kids. Gwyneth Paltrow played the daughter of Royal Tenenbaum, except the adopted, right? They have to fucking focus on that throughout the film. Like, oh, she's adopted, not actually biological. Then there's also Luke Wilson, who played the other son, who was I think it was Richie, I believe his name was. Then there was also Danny Glover, who played like the accountant / like lover of Gene Hackman's ex. I think I got it. I don't know. I think I got it. Yeah. One go. Perfect. But this film, I think, is just pure Wes Anderson. And I think over the last year or two, I've just really gone to appreciate Wes Anderson. You know, I think he's starting to become one of my favorite directors. I've not seen a single bad Wes Anderson thing yet. I genuinely think he's just one of the most unique directors I've ever seen. And I think the best part about it is it's so natural, right? Like, sometimes you could see, like, an indie film director or something like that where they want to differentiate themselves, but you can tell they're, like, really, like, trying a little too hard to be different. Wes Anderson, I just think that's just how he makes movies, right? He's not trying... I don't even think he's really trying too hard to be different. He's just making the movies the way he would make them. And it's just so different. Like, I don't think I've ever watched a film that's like Wes Anderson. I think it's just so different in a good way, and obviously in a good way. Different is good a lot of the time, usually. But this film's, from its art direction to its cinematography to its writing to its directing to pretty much everything about it, is just classic Wes Anderson. And it's just got that timeless appeal that pretty much all of Wes Anderson's films have, that I've grown to appreciate, as I said, over the last few years. And it's just so good. And I love the classic... I take a shot every time I say that. Like, just the Wes Anderson, like, dry humor in this film is perfect, right? The film is hilarious, in my opinion. It's just, like so funny, and it seems so effortless, right? Because, like, one thing I love about it is that it's, like, it is a comedy, but it's not, like, laugh out loud. I mean, there are some really funny parts of it, but it's just, obviously, with dry humor, it's not, like, super in your face, right? It's very, maybe not subtle, but it's subdued, right? The whole point of dry humor is that it's very subdued humor, but it's still very witty, I guess is a better way to describe it, is witty. This film is very witty, and it's just got so many moving parts as well that, like, so many of these things come together and they fit into, like, a little puzzle piece. Like, they're like a big puzzle. And I guess this film is busy. There's a lot going on, but not in a bad way. You know, even though there is a lot going on and there's a lot of moving parts, it's still, I say it's still fairly simple to understand. And I think that it's not even really that fast paced either. You know, it's not like moving at a million miles an hour, even though there's a shit ton of like stuff going on. It still feels like it's evenly paced. You know, it still feels like it's going at its own leisurely way, I guess. And I really like that. I really like how it sometimes, it's not slow either, as I said. But I do like how it doesn't try to rush through things. I like how it does develop these things. And I do like how, like, there are certain moments in the movie, or there are, like, things, there'll be a theme throughout the movie that'll be concluded at the end. Like, Ben Stiller's character, at the beginning of the movie, they established that he, like, kind of made these strange mice. Like, he, like, scientifically made them, I guess, to where they have they're white and they have black spots on them, and they call them Dalmatian mice. And they appear throughout the whole film. They're like, there's maybe, like, one shot of, like, just a mouse, like the Dalmatian mouse just scurrying around the floor, or there's, like, a transition shot with a Dalmatian mouse in it, right? And it's a very, like, big theme throughout the movie. And then at the end, Owen Wilson hits their dog with a car after getting high on drugs and nearly killing Ben Stiller's kids and flying through the window and losing his shoe. He kills their dog, and then they get a Dalmatian because Gene Hackman, Royal Tenenbaum, he buys a Dalmatian off the firemen who drove there, obviously, because a lot of shit was going on. So he just gave him a Dalmatian, which is a nice little full circle moment off the Dalmatian mice bit. But also, I will just say that scene where he drives through the wall, not through the wall, but he drives into the wall and then flies through the window, and then Ben Stiller tries to fucking kill him. And he has, like, this crazy, like face paint on, and he, it's just funny, okay? I don't know how to describe it. It's just funny, okay? You'd get it if you watched the movie. It's just funny. And I don't know, there's just a lot of little things like that. And obviously, I just watched the film, and I'm not great with, like, picking up on little things. That's one thing I like, one little thing that I picked up on. But I think that there's probably a lot of other things that I missed that maybe you could leave down in the comments. Is there things in the movie that you noticed that I may have not? If you've seen the Royal Tenenbaums, maybe give me some trivia, give me some fun facts, maybe give me something I may not know. I'd love to learn more about this movie, especially even just Wes Anderson. Give me more things. I want to learn more about Wes Anderson, so leave down in the comments. Give me some fun facts, give me some trivia. But this film is just solid. It's better than solid. It's just spectacular, I guess is a good way. It's fantabulous. You know, I don't know what else to say. I honestly think the best way for me to be able to talk about this film to you is just watch it, right? Just watch it and you'll get it. Because it's just, I guess you could say it's magic. You know, it's magic in the fact that they're just able to do so many things and they're able to make it all work. Right? They're able to do all these things, and I don't think, not one of them didn't land for me. I thought every little detail felt important. So there's another thing in the movie where he, like, sees this big monument grave, and it, like, has this really, like, big, not big epitaph, but has this, like, really monumentous epitaph, like, you know, veteran of 2 wars, father of 9 children, and shit like that, and it, like, he goes, yeah, I mean, you know, one day when I die, I want to have a big, epic, you know, grave like that. I want to have, like, a big tomb like that, you know, and it kind of touches on it, shows, like, his larger-than-life personality, you know, he kind of wants to be big, you know, he wants to be, like, this big, extravagant thing. He wants to be remembered as somebody, I suppose. He wants to be remembered as this hero, but it's also, for, like, his entire life, he was a bit of a son of a bitch, as Danny Glover worded it. But then, near the latter part of his life, of course, he tries to right those wrongs, but obviously it had been so long, and he had abandoned his kids, he abandoned his wife, he only really looked out for himself, you know, he was, like Danny Glover said, a son of a bitch. But he then tried to right it by, you know, trying to he was trying to reconnect with his kids, he was trying to, I guess, get back together with his wife, he was trying to do all this, and it didn't work at first. They still hated him, but then he just realized that he was still only doing it for himself, right? He still only realized he was only trying to reconnect with them so he would feel better about it, right? And he wasn't doing it for them, he was doing it for himself. And at the end of the movie, he realizes that, and he helps them, right? He grants his wife a divorce, right, so that she can get with Danny Glover. And, he just ends up doing more selfless things that, his family wants instead of what he wants. Does that make sense? I think that I liked his little redemption arc. And also, I like how at the end of the film, he dies, of course, and he has a heart attack. And the only person to witness his death was Ben Stiller, who throughout the film hated him. He didn't want anything to do with him, right? Like, throughout the whole film, he resented him, he yelled at him, he didn't want to be near him, he didn't want to be near his kids, he didn't want him to do anything. But it's ironic that the guy who hated him the most through the whole film was the only person to witness his death. I think that's cool, right? I think that's a nice another full circle moment, a thing that they established throughout the whole film. They're like, these little things, right? These little things. Like I said, it's a well-oiled machine, But I could go on about this film, but I won't. I don't want to spoil everything, right? I don't want to spoil everything about the movie, because I think you should just watch it, right? I think you should go out of your way to watch this movie, because it is just really, really freaking good. And, of course, I'm a sucker for Wes Anderson, so maybe I'm being a little biased here, but I don't think I am. I think that this is just an incredible movie, and even if you haven't seen any Wes Anderson movies, even if you don't really even know who Wes Anderson is, this, I think, this would be a very good introduction to him if you haven't heard of him. And if you have heard of him but you haven't watched his movies, definitely a good entry point. Or even if you've heard of him and you've watched his movies, you haven't watched this one, watch it. I'm being a little superfluous, but I think that you should watch this movie, is basically what I'm trying to say. It's basically what I'm trying to get you to say if you couldn't tell already. But with that being said, what would I rate this film? I think I would rate this film an 8.5 out of 10. And, very much enjoyed it. I think you should watch it. And, yeah, I think I've said what I need to say. I think I've said my piece. So, guys, I hope you liked this video. Share with friends, subscribe, turn notifications on, comment below if you liked it. And I've been Ronan Time HD, off to rescue my family from the wreckage of a destroyed sinking battleship. So, obviously, this is the Criterion release of The Royal Tenenbaums. Of course, it's the old DVD version, not the fancy Blu-ray version that they re-release now. But there are special features on here, and there's an interview. There are interviews for the big ensemble, main cast, and Bill Murray, of course, was interviewed in that. And he basically said, they asked him, what was it like working with Wes Anderson, being in this movie? And he basically said that he has a serious answer and he has a joke answer. And basically his joke answer was that he worked on this movie. He did work on this movie for no money, right? But then he says, well, it's a tad bit sad when you really think about it, right? And that's just funny. And I think he just really liked working with Wes Anderson. I mean, he still does. He still works with Wes Anderson to this day. I mean, I don't believe he was in Asteroid City. Correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like his last Wes Anderson film was The French Dispatch, which was, again, a good movie. But I just think that I like how Bill Murray just does what he wants. I respect that, Bill Murray. I respect that about you. I respect a lot of things about Bill Murray, but I also respect that about Bill Murray. It's good stuff.